Welcome to the Profitable Hypnosis Business, where top experts share their kick-ass money-making strategies and success habits. Hey there, are you ready to turn your hypnosis business into a business that creates cash flow and gives you the life you want? I'm Karen Bird, your host from Win with Hypnosis. You might know me as the Attitude of a Champion trainer. And I put together this online event to bring you some of the best experts from around the world. They're going to be sharing with you their #1 secret about how they successfully and consistently bring in more clients, see more success, and kick ass in their business and lives. And today I am thrilled to interview David Shepard of Fix My Mind. Tell us where you're from, David, because I know that's always interesting for everyone, all of our audience watching.
Where am I from? Originally, well, I live in London now, but originally I'm from a little mining town called Mansfield. Just north of Nottingham.
Okay. Not sure where that is, but I'm assuming, how far is that from where you are now in London?
Probably around about 150 miles.
Okay.
Robin Hood has disappeared, but there is still a sheriff.
That's good. We need sheriffs, that's for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, David. I'm excited to pick your brain and get some good.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. And we're going to be talking about the business of hypnotherapy, particularly the 9 vital levers that you push to create or pull to create a 6-figure hypnotherapy business. So a little bit about David. He's developed countless programs, training courses, and learning tools to help others benefit from the power of NLP and change the game for themselves. David formalized the personal breakthrough process and integrated it into his NLP Master Practitioner certification in such a way that every delegate got to give and receive a full breakthrough session, a world first. He created the first ever NLP coaching program, Coaching Skills for NLPers, which later became part of the NLP Coach Certification Standards for the American Board of NLP. In 2012, David decided it was time to change the game yet again, and this time by changing the face of therapy. Along with his business partner, James Mallinson, he created Fix My Mind, a clinical hypnotherapy program that helps people get more out of their lives. And the first question I have for you, David, and then I'd love to hear more about your business, is tell us a little bit about the personal breakthrough process, and then we'll talk about the 9 levers to pull. So a little about the personal breakthrough process. Can you tell us what that is?
Okay, thanks, Karen. And by the way, whenever I hear the whole kind of like my history, I'm still a lad from Mansfield. The personal breakthrough process was something that I was introduced to in 1993, which was a way of integrating NLP and timeline therapy, mental emotional release, hypnosis, and also HUNA to enable somebody to achieve a major breakthrough in a particular area of their life in a very short period of time, like a day. But when I was introduced to it, I loved the idea. But when I got back home to the UK, because I learned it in the US, when I got back to the UK and I got my first client, I thought, what am I supposed to do with this client? And we weren't actually taught that. So I went back to first principles and worked out how to do a breakthrough session with a client. And that's what I've been teaching. We were actually, or I was the first person ever to teach actually have people do a breakthrough session in a master practitioner training, rather than just teach it as a theoretical model. I went like, no, you're actually going to do one and you're going to receive one.
And you get your own therapy, and that's what we need.
Yeah, I was the first person to do that. And now I've created the breakthrough session masterclass, which is how to take that whole thing to another level. So it's a real integration of all of NLP, all of hypnotherapy, all of timeline therapy, all of mental emotional release. And if you're into that kind of thing, and HUNA, to enable somebody to achieve a massive breakthrough in their life in a matter of hours.
Interesting. All right. I'm assuming that we can find more information on that by looking up your website.
Yep. Performancepartnership.com.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
I've got a breakthrough session masterclass I've just launched today, actually, which will be the first one that's online.
All right. I'll check that out. Awesome. So one of the big questions I have for you is, how do you make six figures? Truly make six figures in a hypnotherapy practice? There's so many in our audience that would love to know that.
Well, this is something that James Mallison and I looked at because he came to me with a business proposal for what might be called a high-end, high street therapy practice, because the high street in the UK was already changing. I mean, it's changed massively, even more now. But but the shops were closing down, and people were going for cosmetic dentistry, minor cosmetic surgery, etc., in the high street. But nobody was doing therapy, and James said to me, "There's a business opportunity there." And the hypnotherapy market in the UK in general, well, it doesn't really work as a business, because the majority of people in the UK are charging £50 an hour, and they're seeing 12 clients a month. So, that's £600 a month. Nobody can live off that these days. So it became like a hobby or a vocation, but the need for hypnotherapy was going off the scale, and it's doing even more now today.
Absolutely.
With what we're experiencing, a number of people with anxiety and panic and fear and not knowing how to go with uncertainty. I spoke with a lady today, and she had a number of she had an abusive relationship, and also then she was just led to go like, where am I going? I don't know what to do. So the requirement for this is increasing, but the amount of people that are making a living or even a business out of it is decreasing. So what James and I looked at, and James drove this really, was the difference between being in the therapy business and being in the business of therapy.
I love that. Yeah.
And it's a subtle semantic change, really, and the meaning, though, is huge. Mm-hmm. So we looked at what we needed to do to go into the business of therapy. Mm-hmm. And what we discovered was there were 9 key levers to do that. James is from a media and PR background. I was from an IT background, but then I was in the the NLP business, and we put our business heads together and went, how do we do this? Mm-hmm. And you follow these 9 levers, and you will have a 6-figure therapy business.
Awesome. So take notes.
And quite rightly and justifiably so. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are going to the therapy business, feel guilty about charging people money.
Definitely. That's a mindset that so many in our industry or profession get over. And when we do, it makes a huge difference, because we're offering a service that is so needed, like you just said. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, let's just put that into perspective for a second. I had one of my clients call me out of the blue. I need to see you today. And I was having a rare day off. No, I need to see you today. Well, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Let's call him James. I'll see you tomorrow. No, I need to see you today. And I went, what's going on? And he said, well, I have a meeting tomorrow morning. Um, Depending on how this single meeting goes, I will make £100 million sterling, or I won't. And the way I'm thinking at the moment is, and this is his words, I'm going to completely fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see you today. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, I'll see you today. And we got the issue sorted out, and he nailed the meeting the next day. And he got the goal. He
And
got his £100 million
yeah, and
sterling.
he would pay you anything for that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wished afterwards I'd charged him a percentage,
Yes, that's a good
but
tip. I'll
I
remember that.
didn't. I just charged him my usual rate,
Mhm.
which a lot of people still think my usual rate is high. It's £1,000 an hour.
Mhm.
But £1,000 for an hour, and out of that, he got 100 million.
Yeah.
You know, and then there are many people that I work with that the result that you enable them to get, you couldn't put a price on.
Right. Yes, absolutely. I've gotten there. Hmm.
So if you thought, even when you're charging £1,000 an hour, and you've enabled somebody to get a result that they can't put a price on,
Hmm.
there is absolutely no reason to feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
Well, if you do feel guilty about that, book a session with me, because you need some therapy.
There you
Uh,
go. There you go. Yes. Look up David Shepard for a mindset shift on what we are worth.
no, absolutely. I've got students who have got clients that are. I just saw one is doing 20 grams of coke a week, which is a lot,
Hmm.
and he's got him off it.
Hmm.
Not only has that saved him a lot of money, it's probably saved his life,
Hmm.
and who knows how many other things. So you've got to realize that when you do this stuff right, when you do this stuff well, the value that you are providing for your clients, the value that you're providing for humanity is massive.
You can't put a price
And
on
you
joy
can't put a
and
price on it.
no, there's no price on joy and happiness and
No.
living a fulfilled life. Hmm. Yeah.
No, I mean the reason why I did this, started doing this whole thing in the first place, was because it enabled me to completely change my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
thought everybody should know this stuff. It should be taught at school.
Yeah. And I love that mindset. And it's not always, it's hard to explain to people how that will change your entire life is changing your mindset. I'm really anxious to hear about the 9 levers or
Yeah.
levers too. Like, tell us how you did that, like when you got started and what those are.
Well, to be fair, we got it completely wrong, and we lost a lot of money, thinking that we were doing it right. But we knew that we really had something, so we stuck at it. So what we've now got is the key things that need to be present to make a very successful um, hypnotherapy practice.
Hmm.
And by that I mean successful both in the results that you get for the clients,
Hmm.
and also the amount of money that you make for you. Um, Both are vital. because if you're not getting results for your clients, then you're not going to get any referrals,
Mm.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not getting paid a large amount of money, it's not sustainable.
Right.
So you've got to have both of those things.
Exactly.
So the first is website visibility. So we looked at Google and looked at what people were searching for.
Mm-hmm.
Fix My Mind actually isn't the interventions we do are not purely hypnotherapy. They're NLP, they're timeline therapy, they're mental emotional release, and they're also a psycho sensory technique called havening.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we deliver, but that's not what people are searching for.
I want the mind fixed.
So we're looking at, okay, what are people searching for? And they're searching for hypnotherapy because, way more people know about hypnosis and hypnotherapy than NLP
Mm-hmm.
or timeline therapy. So we are a hypnotherapy brand because that's what people are searching for. And they're searching for 6 things. They're searching for weight loss, smoking cessation, anxiety and panic, phobias, insomnia, and confidence.
Love it. Wrote those down. Mm-hmm.
So we built the entire website around that because that's what people are searching for. So that's what I mean by website visibility. Whereas a lot of people, and then I've seen websites where it's hypnotherapy and it's everything under the sun. No, we just went for 6 things. We get inquiries for presenting problems that don't fit those 6 things.
Yes.
But people go like, oh, I haven't got any of those things. Can you help me with this?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the answer is yes. Then advertising.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So advertising on Google AdWords. And what we found worked best was hypnotherapy, one of those 6 presenting problems, and your geographical location.
Mm-hmm.
You can lose a lot of money on advertising, but people just go like, I want anybody who's interested in hypnotherapy to click on my link and you pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, you don't want that.
Yes.
We did social media advertising and we lost a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you talking about the Google My Business or the Google AdWords?
Google AdWords.
Yes. Okay.
You've got to do Google My Business
Mm-hmm.
because that fits into the first one, which is website visibility.
Yes.
Yeah, that's your organic searches.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. They will come. With Google advertising, with the right AdWord campaign, you can start creating money and getting clients straight away,
Mm-hmm.
provided you have all the other things too.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook advertising for therapy, we found did not work.
Good to know.
It works for some of my other businesses, like training and that kind of thing, but not for therapy. I think the thing with Google is the person is active and they're searching for a solution now, rather than Facebook advertising is passive.
Mm-hmm.
What we found was that with Google advertising, people go, I've got this problem. I've realized I've got this problem and I really want to sort it as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas social media for hypnotherapy or any other form of therapy, we spent a lot of money. We got a lot of hits, lots of clicks. We even got lots of inquiries, but the conversion was really low.
Yeah. So more they're like, oh, this looks interesting. I'll check it out. Maybe I'll use it someday.
At some point in time, I'll
Mm-hmm.
sort this out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when somebody goes into the Google and goes, I have to get this phobia sorted out now. I have to get this anxiety, panic attack sorted out now. Uh, Normally the response is, when's your next available time?
I hear that often. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a question about how much it costs, not anything like that. Provided you've done everything else that we talk about, you got
Mm-hmm.
to do all of these 9. Yeah, so just one isn't going to work. The next is social media, um, which is how you build up your credibility and your prestige. Um, Prestige is a term that was originally came from stage magic, which I wanted to be a stage magician when I was a kid, and I was before I became an Elvis impersonator, and then I became an NLP trainer. Um, and the prestige is in stage magic is when the magician comes out on the stage, people expect magical things to happen before they've said anything. If you haven't seen the movie The Prestige, then watch it. It's a great movie. Then it got transferred to stage hypnosis. Now, James and I believe it's a really key piece in any form of change work, whether it be hypnotherapy or anything else, is that as soon as the person meets you, the room, what you look, the way you treat them, has them go, okay, this is going to work.
Can you repeat that real quick? I think we the video was a little slow there for a moment. So as soon as they meet you,
the way that you look, the way that you dress,
mm-hmm.
the location, the premises where you see them, the way you greet them, your physiology, immediately, unconsciously has them go, this is different. This is going to work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a number of things from a hypnotherapy point of view, which is going a little bit off track, but I think we've probably got time. For me, the things that have to happen or need to be present for hypnotherapy to work for everybody every time, first session, is the belief in the client I was in trance,
Mm-hmm.
The belief in the client of I'm suggestible, it being okay with the client's unconscious mind for them to get the result, and then an expectation from the client, which might come more from their conscious mind, that it's going to work.
Mm-hmm. Which is our job as the therapist, hypnotherapist, to make sure that they know that in the beginning.
Yep.
Before we start. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then, it'll work first time with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There are hypnotherapists who don't believe that, unfortunately, but, there we go. And social media can create that kind of prestige for you, that belief for you. Then website conversion. James and I spent a huge amount of time working on the website and using my stuff, which I teach in my Masters of Influence training, which is NLP, it's Ericksonian hypnosis, and it's Cialdini's 6 rules of influence. Because you're paying for people to come to your site. You want to convert those people. And look at fixmymind.co.uk. That site converts massively well. higher than any. Well, we, even to the point where people that we got to monitor our site and measure our site thought the software had gone wrong because the figure of conversion came out too high. Because it's meant like good, I believe, is like 2 or 3%, and we were getting 6%.
Awesome.
That's on a click through. So if somebody visits the site and then they inquire.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next thing is the consultation call, which is how you convert an inquiry to an actual booking. So we give people a free consultation call. It tends to be an average of 20 minutes. We have a particular process that we go through for that, which is not, and I think this is what a lot of hypnotherapists do, is they start to get into therapy in the consultation call. And the consultation call is not about doing therapy on the phone. It's about getting the person booked in. It's about all the things that go before, about the prestige. It's about the fact that the person goes like, okay, I believe that this person I'm talking to on the phone will enable me to get rid of my phobia, my anxiety attacks, my insomnia in 1 session, 2 sessions, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we modeled that, the consultation call process. And we gave the model to James's PA, who is not trained in hypnotherapy, not trained in hypnotherapy, not trained in anything. We just gave her the model, and she was doing consultation calls, and she was getting a conversion ratio of between 70 and 80%. Just following the model.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we, on average, charge 8 times more than the average. The way to think about it is the website actually designed to put people off, which is counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I got this idea years ago, which was, let's say that there was somebody said to you, there's a needle in this haystack, and if you can find the needle, I'll give you $1 million. I think most of us would be motivated to go and find the needle. And what most people would do is they go searching through the hay to find the needle. Whereas another idea is you get a box of matches, you set fire to a match, you throw it onto the haystack, you stand back, you wait for the hay to burn, and you're left with the needle.
Thinking out of the box. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the website's actually designed to stop anybody who is not going to be one of our customers from even clicking the button, because we don't want to burn time on the consultation call.
Mm-hmm.
Consultation call is the first place where we're actually spending time with people.
Mm-hmm.
Time is money.
Mm-hmm.
So with the consultation call process, people are pretty much already in. We've got total transparency. They know much how it's going to cost. They just need to be tipped over the edge,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Then once somebody's actually said, yes, I want to do it, they've booked a date, they've agreed to the price, which is currently around about £250 for a session here in the UK. I still think that's a little bit low. But when the average hypnotherapist is charging 50, 250 is, you know, it's quite a major step up. Then what we give every single person that wants to do a session with us an ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
We got this from Milton Erickson. Milton Erickson, Milton Erickson is one of my heroes. I've got to admit, I've studied Milton Erickson massively. I've got a whole several shelves over here. I've got everything he's ever written over on this side here in the library. He gave an ordeal to everybody.
I love that word.
And I love that word too, because a lot of people go, I need to give you a task.
Yeah.
But I go, like, why do you call it a task? Because an ordeal makes it sound like it's going to be hard work.
Right.
It's meant to be hard work.
Uh-huh.
So then, an ordeal does a number of things. One is, have you got a motivated client if they do the ordeal? And it's a arduous task. Yes. Two, have you got a client that's willing to do what you tell them to do? Yes. And the ordeal probably designed will bring their presenting problem into their consciousness.
So how long is this ordeal? You've got my interest peaked.
Normally about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, about
It's
2
a
weeks.
stretch. It's a stretch for 2 weeks. And they get to stretch through it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if they don't do the ordeal, we don't see them.
Okay.
We give them their money back. And we just go, come back when you're serious.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got somebody who's gone through all these stages and have done the ordeal, and I believe also that your fee should be an ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think with a lot of people, a lot of hypnotherapists, the person says how much it's going to cost, and they tell them, and the client goes, oh, really? Oh, I might as well give it a go then. You don't want
try.
a client.
I'll just try it.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might as well try it.
I will try. Mm-hmm.
You want a client that goes like, "Phew, okay. That's a bit more than I was expecting."
Mm-hmm.
Now I know with NLP we've got the meta model. We can go compared to what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that. I go, yeah, probably.
Heard that before.
I need to think about it. Go on then.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they come back, this is the person that goes, yes, I want the result. Mm-hmm. And the value of that result is bigger than how much this person is asking me for.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing you say is that when you know the value, you get to communicate that with your clients. This is the value. Yeah. And then they accept it. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So then in the main, price doesn't become an issue. Mm-hmm. I guess it depends which parts of the US you live in and which parts of the UK you live in. But for a session at, let's say, £250, wouldn't even cover dinner and drinks in a top-end restaurant. And this is to get rid of your problem mm-hmm. in one session. Mm-hmm. Then there's the actual treatments that James and I put together, which are, were originally from my then, I guess, 20 years experience. But then they've been honed down. So, James now, over the last 5 years, has seen more than 3,000 clients. He's busy, really, really busy. And, and we feedback all the time. So we're honing down the treatment protocols and the success rate in the treatment protocol. And, Karen, I've got to say that I think a lot of the reason why the treatment protocol success rate is so high is because of our client selection process.
Well, you have already seen change even before you've had them in your office. So
Yeah.
you can have the process done there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, when somebody actually comes to see us, um, they want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can create the prestige, and then you do the actual treatment process. As long as the client follows the instructions, which they've already proved that they're going to do, then we know that any change process works when the client is willing to follow the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
The only time it doesn't work is when either they don't want it to work or they're not willing to follow the instructions, which really boils down to the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then the other thing was outsourcing. Outsource everything. Uh, if your passion is to be a hypnotherapist, then be a hypnotherapist, not an accountant, not a PA, not a social media advertising expert.
Couldn't agree more. Mm-hmm.
Like, just focus on what you want to do. So, James in Fix Mind outsources everything. But, here's a little formula. Work out how much you want to make per year. Divide it by the number of hours you want to work per year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, I want to work 40 weeks out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I want to work 3 days a week. And I want to work 7 hours in those particular days. You need to get a calculator out to work it out for you personally, but so let's say you say I want to make $250,000 a year, then you divide it by 40,
Mm-hmm.
3, and then 8, and that will tell you how much you need to make per hour to achieve your goal.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I wrote that down.
If you were doing anything that you couldn't pay somebody less to do for you, you'll never achieve your goal.
I agree. And there are so many resources out there now that we can reach out to and find someone that's an expert in what we are not experts in.
But here's the thing: is it's saving us money, but it's making them money.
Yeah.
And now, thanks to what I think Tim Ferriss called geo arbitrage. We can actually hire somebody in another part of the world for an amount of money that we would go, that's just a ridiculously low amount of money, but for them, it's a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we begin to use the technology that we've got today to truly share their wealth around the world.
I agree. I just had this conversation with a colleague and I had said the same thing as, for me personally, I hesitated and hesitated. And when I finally did it, I was like, oh, what was I waiting so long for?
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
And all the people I've done that with, they're lovely people. And you are making such a massive, significant financial impact on their life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then number 9 out of the 9 levers is grit.
I love that word. I use that with my athletes often, that I see as grit. It's a great word.
With everything else, it'll be hard work. There will be setbacks. There will be problems. There will be global pandemics. Brexit here in the UK, which, you know, so many hypnotherapists blamed Brexit for the fact that we had no clients. And then my clients in the US blamed Donald Trump for the fact they got no clients, or you know, whatever. Get over it. There will always be somebody else to blame. And you know, even with everything, you know, I've been doing this now for 30 years. I've been studying NLP, hypnotherapy, time therapy, mental emotional release, coaching, and HUNA for 27 years. And I have tough times. You know, even with everything I know. This isn't a shortcut to be able to make a lot of money for doing nothing.
Right. It doesn't come easily.
No.
You get to work at it.
You know, I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson that said, anything you rightfully earn cannot be withheld. Anything you don't rightfully earn, you'll pay for. So, you know, follow the, you know, a lot of people in our space go, here's your $1 million plan to make it $1 million in your first year, and I'm going to sell it to you for $20, and you won't have to do anything other than do this. You probably know the people I'm talking about. And that's not my reality. And those kind of people will turn around and say, that's my limiting belief.
Right. You have a limiting belief.
I have lots of limiting beliefs. I find new ones every day.
Yeah. Well, as long as you can identify them, then you can get over them, right?
And we get rid of them. But you still got to work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Still got to put effort in. That's the thing. And there'll be things that go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That was gold you gave us. So really your 5 levers are website, Google AdWords, social media, presentation, how you present yourself, website conversion, the consultation call and the ordeal, the treatments, the way that you use the treatments, the outsourcing, and the last one was grit, which we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
I'm just
Great.
checked. Yeah, you got them all.
Yeah. And you are going to, we'll talk about your free gift in a moment, but before we do that, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
What is the #1 success habit that you do that ensures the results that you get on a daily basis? Did I stump you?
I use what I know.
Okay.
And I think one of the biggest things, you know, and to be really upfront and honest, this has been a challenge for me recently with all this thing that's going on, is I've got this presupposition, if you like, that the problem is never outside of you. The problem is always inside of you. And as long as you think the problem's outside of you, you'll never solve it. As soon as you go, this is mine, then you'll find a solution.
Yeah, I'm responsible for it, right? I'm responsible. I own it.
Yeah. And, you know, with everything that's been going on with like the COVID-19 and all of this kind of stuff, global economy, blah, 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 blah. We've all got lots of excuses for for not creating what we want,
Mhm.
feeling bad, and those kind of things.
Mhm.
And I felt myself fall into that, going like, oh, what's the point? Whatever. And then I go, no. Remember what you teach other people.
Yes.
Uh, if you kind of like, if you were my client, what would you say at this point in time?
Exactly. Hmm.
Um, and I'm not known for my politeness. I won't say it on your program, Karen, but
I think you've been amazing.
you you would get a bit of a we call over here a bit of an arse kicking about that. But I found myself doing that. So you've got to kind of realize and just kind of give yourself a bit of a break. This is this is an unusual time. My mum is 85. I'm going up to see her for the first time in Mansfield, where you asked me where I'm from originally. Next weekend, I haven't seen her since January because she's been in isolation.
Mm.
Though I've spoken to her, on a regular basis. And I said, well, Mum, you've probably been through something like this before. She goes, I have never been through anything like this before.
No, we're making history, I think, for sure.
I said, well, what about when, you're a little girl in the Second World War? She goes, it was nothing like this. I have never been through anything like this before. So just, please, everybody who's watching this, realize that and be kind to yourself in that realization, and also be kind to the people around you with that realization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important that we recognize that and use that kindness. I love it. Anything else you'd like to share with us before we talk about the free gift that you're offering our audience?
Yeah, James and I are actually launching a training which we were going to do this year, but obviously um, external circumstances had changed that. Which was actually to share the two things that we developed, which was the Fix My Mind system, which is the client acquisition system, and the Fix My Mind method, which was the way that we got results with clients. And it's proven now, even in these challenging times, it works. You follow the instructions, and no matter where you are in the world, you'll get the equivalent of a good six-figure income working comparatively part-time. We will be launching that. But what James and I did, we were out in Cyprus last summer, and we did some videos, two videos actually, explaining the 9 levers in significantly more depth than we've been able to do today.
Mm-hmm.
So if people are interested in getting those videos, and it's not just me, it's me and James. And to be honest with you, it's more James than me, because it's James that's been really doing the delivery and of Fix My Mind. So if you'd like those videos, they're about an hour each. Then you can get those as a download on James and I.
That's awesome. And the link is at the bottom of the screen here. And it's double value because we get 2 videos with 2 of the experts in our field of those 9 levers. I'm really excited to hear more about it for sure. Again, the link is there. And if any of us want to find you, can you, again, one more time, tell us how we can reach you? Is it the Fix Your Mind, or give us?
Yeah. So if they want to look at the website, which is the therapy website, then it's fixmymind.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
And model that website, model the structure of it, model the language, because it works. And the reason it works is because James and I spent a lot of time applying everything that we knew around conversion. You might think it doesn't look good. That doesn't matter. It converts. And then if you want to find out more about training with me, my other trainers, then performancepartnership.com would be the place to go to. There you can learn more about NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, HUNA.
Great.
All those kind of things.
All right. I'm going to check out your Fix My Minds because I can always use good tips and ideas.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Model it. It works.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us here today, David. All of your tools and tips are gold. I'm excited about it. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And please forgive my lockdown hairstyle.
Lockdown in the middle of the summer heat too, right?
Yeah. But my hairdresser is finally opening next week. So next time you see me, I won't look like some kind of like mad professor.
It makes you look smarter. It's all good.
Wizard person.
Yes, the wizard. All right. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll catch you soon.